Today is episode 128 of the Deep Dives, and Destry has been obsessed lately with the WNBA, specifically Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. So we're going to talk about that a lot today, and then we got some Bible stuff and some discussion to go along with it as well. But 128 is a cool number because it's 2 to the 7th, and I don't know why that's cool, but it is. But that's what we're going to do today.
Obsessed is a harsh word.
Well, okay, so
A strong word.
not obsessed in that like it consumes your every thought, but like
Right.
that's what you've been focusing a lot of attention to this week.
I'm obsessed with this like I'm obsessed with anything that I talk about during the week.
Right.
I want to make that perfectly clear.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying it's a strong word. Wow. So when I started talking about Caitlin Clark last week, really that's the first time that I put any energy towards anything towards her, right? Mm-hmm. And it just kind of, I don't know why, I just kind of just started seeing some things that interested me, and I dug deeper into it. And the deeper I get into studying her and the Heat, her WNBA, women's basketball league, the more there is. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about this is that I think it's a great example of how AI, people that are using AI primarily to produce videos, have taken something that happened more than 12 months ago and continue to put out content as if it happened yesterday.
Oh, see, that's interesting because you sent us some videos to watch on this. Mm-hmm. I thought this was a recent thing.
That's exactly why I did it. That's exactly why I didn't explain anything. I just kind of put a headline to it.
So that was over a year ago.
That stuff's over a year ago.
Okay, interesting.
Stuff is still happening, but it's not happening anymore now than it does with anybody else. Mm-hmm. I've watched 2 live games of Caitlin and the Heat, Indiana Heat, and if you didn't know anything, you wouldn't know anything. You know what I mean? It's not like this stuff is continuing to happen every game. So let me go back and talk a little bit about. By the way, let me say this. Those videos still getting hundreds of thousands of hits. That's why they keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why they keep doing it. It keeps feeding itself. Hence AI El Succo, man.
Right.
That's just a negative part to me of AI being used in this way because it can fool you. It fooled you.
Yeah.
You're a pretty smart guy.
Well, not when it comes to sports. I'm a moron when it comes to sports.
But you don't have to know sports.
I'm saying that as someone who was captain of his basketball
That's
team
right.
in high school, and I homeschooled.
How many graduated in your class?
1. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Valedictorian too.
But I'll have you know, I graduated top of my class.
I'm sure you did. That's good. That's really good. Okay, so a year ago, I want to get your take. Tell me, so what happened is last night I sent Josh and Chris 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 25 videos. I kept sending videos
it
to
was
them.
A ding, ding, ding.
I know
ding,
it got
ding,
annoying.
Ding.
I know it did, but every time I'd see one, I'd think, well, this really explains it good.
Right.
And this talks about Sophie a little bit more, and this talks about Caitlin a little bit more. I could have sent you more videos about the other players,
right.
That are getting a lot of the press as well, and that have stuck up for Caitlin after people were, I just say it, they were bullying her. I don't say that word lightly, but there's so many times in her first and second year, first year especially, I think it was 24, man, they were just hammering her.
Yeah.
Hammering her. The opposing team were hammering her. Caitlin comes in with all this, quote, baggage in a positive way. All this media attention, I'll say. Let me take away baggage and say media attention. Let me stop there for a second, and I want to personalize it for us. So you and I have had a podcast for
Since COVID.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
Right? It's 2026 right now.
Right. And that was 2020.
We have met almost every week.
Right.
And we've had a podcast. Okay. So how many years after that did the church approach us and want to collaborate?
Probably 2 years after
2
that?
years, 2.5 years, something like that.
Yeah, it all blurs together.
So you and I looked at each other and went, I don't know. Maybe, okay.
There were kind of some pros and cons. Yeah.
And we talked about them, and it might be good for the church,
Right.
It might be good for us, we were, the idea was we'd have a bigger platform.
Right.
All this
Well,
stuff.
we're also excited about the opportunity to do something like in partnership.
Absolutely, we were. Right, because we were kind of...
Common goals.
It started out as a
Yeah.
small group podcast, and
Right.
then we started, if you go back and listen to the under 100s, we're at 128 now, under 50s maybe,
Right.
you would find us, you could call it the Marcus Point Baptist Church podcast.
Right. Well, that's what we were called for
Yeah.
a while, because before they approached us, we approached them,
Yeah.
and actually got permission to be like, you're the only people in the church doing a podcast, and we asked, can we just be the Marcus Point podcast?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, and we were excited about that.
Yep, we
were.
were.
And it was the goal was there's a Sunday sermon. Let's do a podcast. It's a deep dive into that Sunday sermon, kind of like as a platform to show like even just a Sunday sermon can be a launching point to do your own personal weekly devotionals, just diving into the context of the verses that were used, things like that.
A great formula.
Yeah. And we talked about stuff that was happening in the church and all that stuff. So yeah, it was great. And then we were approached, by the church to be one of, I think, 3 podcasts.
One of 3.
Which again, we were excited about that opportunity. But I don't think the other 2, actually, it ended up being the other 3.
The 3, yeah.
They didn't last very long, and so
Right.
we kind of ended up kind of on our own again.
So whenever we were approached, you and I did a checklist of goods and bads, and it was kind of like a bigger entity was looking at buying out a bigger company was looking at buying out a smaller company. That's in a way that's what it was, right? There's a little feeling about that.
One way to describe it.
One way to describe it. And with this bigger company coming on board, man, a lot more access to a lot more people,
Right.
a lot more, I won't say money, but things, a studio dedicated to podcasts, right?
Right.
Cool. Okay, that's cool. It's kind of the way, in a much bigger way,
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA. WNBA has been there for 20 years.
Right.
Maybe even 30 years. A long time. Nobody's been watching.
Yeah.
Nobody's been watching. There's been girls there for 8, 10, 12, maybe 15 years. Not much over. You just can't play at the top of the game, no matter what it is, professionally for that long. Unless it's golf or something like that. But a contact sport, you can't stay in it that long. But these girls were there. Hey, Caitlin's coming in, and even before she got there were shockwaves coming in. There were wakes coming in, and some people, depending on what their agenda was, depending on where they were on certain topics, were totally resisting her. Right. Some of them were welcoming her. Some of them were totally resisting her.
So I looked it up. The WNBA was founded on April 24th, 1996.
Okay, 1996. So how many years? It's 20 years.
30 years.
30 years.
Yep.
So I can understand why people were resisting.
Right.
Because in a way, some people were thinking, this is our thing. You know what I mean? This is our thing. We've been doing this thing forever. Now this young girl,
Upstart, basically. Yeah.
upstart's going to come in here and bring all this stuff it's going to change things. Who likes change? Even if it's for the better, change is hard. But whenever you've got a lot of type A personalities,
Yes.
they're going to resist. This is my take on the whole thing. They're going to resist, understand it. The media and other people, and maybe even some players too, are identifying this resistance with different things. Race, sexual preference, and just because they don't want things to change. Those three things. Most of us will connect to one of those three things, and then it's off to the races.
Yeah.
Then everything is blown up. Whereas Caitlin comes on the floor, she wants to play basketball. Most of the women there just want to play basketball. Okay, let's look at the money. Okay, Caitlin is with her coming on board with the WNBA. Let me just go over some statistics. She was able, her first year in the schedule, if whenever she signed with Indiana, she was the first round. She was the first pick in the draft.
So who does she play for now?
Indiana Heat.
Indiana Heat. Okay.
Heat.
Why do
Saying that
people
right?
keep saying Fever?
It's the Fever. It's not the Heat. It's the Fever.
Oh.
Indiana Fever. That's what it is. The
okay,
Heat,
gotcha.
I think, is the men's basketball team. I think so.
I have no idea.
It's the Fever. You're right. Indiana Fever. Sorry. I had a couple episodes this week. My mind is not.
I thought it. Something clicked. Like, oh, the reason they keep yelling Fever is because she's on a team named the Heat. I thought it was clicking, but it wasn't.
total my fault. You're right. It's the Fever. And as soon as she came on board, everybody that was on their schedule looked at playing at a bigger arena because of the people that she's coming on board. She's doubling the people that are watching in person, sells out. Everywhere she goes, people sell out. I heard it described as she is everybody's hometown girl, no matter where she goes. Now, since then, she's developed some rivalries, with this girl named Reese and some other girls. When Sophie was pointing, that's a whole nother deal. Sophie Cunningham is a whole nother deal. But this being the third year, this is their third year into the pros. They just they wish they could just go, guys, stop talking about it. Okay, just stop talking about it because there's plenty of stuff to talk about now. One thing that did happen last week, one of the reporters asked Sophie Cunningham, and Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin are very tight, like that whole team is. Sophie is the person who started physically taking up for Caitlin whenever Caitlin started getting fouled outright, and they weren't calling them fouls, or they were calling them not blatant fouls whenever they were. It just seemed like even the refs were not treating her with respect.
Yeah.
Sophie said, okay, that's cool. Next thing you know, Sophie is physically taking out some of the players. The one player that poked Caitlin in the eye, obvious foul. It was called for a foul, but it wasn't a technical foul. Should have been a technical foul.
What's the difference between a foul and a technical foul?
Obvious foul. Slap him in the face. You get kicked out of the game for doing something like that.
Okay.
Technical foul is a bigger magnitude, and there's certain levels of whatever. Technical also means that the player that the foul was called on gets to go to the free throw line with nobody even there, and gets 1, 2, or 3 shots, free throws.
Okay.
So with Sophie this last week, a reporter asked her her thoughts on a biological male playing in the female basketball league. And she told her what in my opinion, what most Christian people would say. I don't think it's fair. I think
Irrational.
it's not rational. It's not fair. It's not rational. and we need to protect the young women who are coming up in this league from that happening. She said, I don't hate them. This is my words. I don't hate them. I don't resent them. I don't do anything. I just don't think you asked me the question. I'm telling you, I just don't. I'll always believe this. This is the way I was brought up. These are my values, and I'll always stick with them. I am who I am, and that's my answer. Boy, oh boy.
I wonder if people ask those kinds of questions because they know it's a heated issue.
They do.
And if
course they
you're
do.
someone who's popular and I don't want you to be popular anymore, here's the question I'm going to
Of
ask
course.
to make you no longer popular.
That's exactly
It's
right.
done. It's done as an assassination.
Oh, absolutely.
on them.
It's doing the same thing that the opposition on the court was doing physically. It's doing it ideologically.
But here's the difference.
I'm going to foul you.
Yep. Here's the difference. Anything, from what I can tell, anything that either the other players or the media does with that intent backfires on them. There's more people that are supporting anything that Sophie has said or Caitlin than the naysayers. Naysayers are usually louder, right? But I think America's getting just sick and tired of bowing down to calling somebody with a tallywhacker a girl.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
like the technical term.
It's how do you do that and have a straight face?
Yeah.
And then how do you come play basketball or swim or anything else, and you're looking around and you have a mental illness identifying yourself as a female whenever you're a biological male? How do you do that?
Right.
We're just tired of dealing with it, man. You know what I mean? So we can say that here. Sophie says it. Millions of people see it, and now they're trying to come after her, and they are coming after her to the point of the what was it? I think I sent you a video of one of the co-owners of the team that they were playing next after Sophie said this went up to these two teenage girls. Even if they were teenagers, they were young girls that had a sign saying, "Thank you for protecting us, Sophie." Well, this co-owner of the team they were playing went up to them and told them they were effing idiots. This lady's 60-something years old. She's screaming in their faces, "You effing teenagers with a sign. Thank you for protecting us, Sophie."
Right.
I was just looking at it right here. Since I've actually brought a computer in now to type in.
Okay.
things. And it says AI. It says AI overview. Opinions of whether the Fever's Sophie Cunningham should be suspended are mixed. And it says, with the NBA's recent suspension of the Seattle Storm's minority co-owner for 5 games following the altercation with teen fans wearing support Sophie Cunningham.
There you go.
So basically, AI is saying that she should be suspended based on the algorithm at this
Right.
point.
There you go.
Sophie Cunningham should be suspended?
Yeah.
The AI is actually saying that.
For answering a question
Yeah.
the way that some people don't want her to answer
Right.
it.
Which is
That's-
interesting because if we're supposed to have freedom of speech and freedom of thought,
Sure.
Remember,
why is,
tolerance only goes one way.
That's right. So that is an overview of people, specifically we're talking about the WNBA, that are hanging on to the sexual preference reason why they don't want Caitlin to come in. Caitlin's a straight white female. It's some of the numbers say it's over 50% of some of the numbers. Quote, don't quote me. I'm quoting somebody that I don't whatever. Saying upwards of, you can check on this, upwards of 50% or more, depending on the numbers you look at, say that WNBA players are gay. Okay, that might be true, that might not be true, but I know one thing that is true. Last year, maybe year before last, during Pride Week, whatever it was, the WNBA logo was a rainbow. And it was a gay and lesbian rainbow. So it is a league that is not, that really supports, and hey, good for you. You support the gay and lesbian lifestyle. Okay, that's fine. So you don't want a straight person to come in and bring you millions of viewers, millions of more dollars? Because Caitlyn is there, more of the women, gay or straight, are making more money.
Right.
Well, Caitlyn makes this much money. I dogged her the other day on the court. Why don't I make this much? So she's lifting everything.
Right.
In the WNBA. Everything from viewers to money to shoe deals to everything else.
But it's because she doesn't follow the prescribed agenda.
That's
right now. Actually, the AI overview here says again, roughly 25% of the WNBA is openly LGBTQ+.
Openly, okay, 25%. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I like 50% more, but 25%, we'll take that. And probably if you looked up another couple, they'd have different numbers also. I do need to say this though. Last week I said that as far as the economy goes with Caitlyn, she bundled a shoe deal with Nike with Sophie, meaning Nike came to Caitlyn and said, we want to do a shoe deal with you. Caitlyn said, I'll do a shoe deal with you if you do a shoe deal with Sophie.
Yeah.
I have found that not to be true. I have not found anywhere else that has said that. As a matter of fact, I've found articles that said not true. And I'll back that up by saying Adidas is the shoe deal, or Caitlyn has a Nike shoe deal, and Sophie has an Adidas shoe deal. And I don't think those two companies are owned by the same people.
No.
I don't think so. That tells me also that it's not true. It's a nice story, but I don't think it's true. So I'm backtracking on that.
Right.
If you find something different, let me know. People just don't like change, and I think that has a lot to do with it. But I think even now, looking at live feeds, watching the games, I think we're evening out with all this. I think people are starting to accept Caitlyn and her team, and they also know that. Let me ask you this, or let me say this: why are they accepting her now? Well, one, she proved that she is a really good player. She can back up the kind of media that's coming with her. Two, if they bully her on the court, there's going to be repercussions. The referees are now calling, in my opinion, they're calling better, and her teammates have shown, not just Sophie, but other teammates will stick up for her. They have enough players to where somebody can be kicked out, and they still have somebody that comes off the bench and can be as good or better than the person that was kicked out.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts?
I have a couple.
Okay.
One.
Preach on it.
Here's the thing that annoys me about the whole gender issue. So there's all this disagreement between the terms sex and gender, right? If you filled out any medical forms lately, a lot of the wording has changed. Like, what is your sex assigned at birth, which means, if we get down to the fundamental core of it is, do you have an XY chromosome or an XX chromosome? And we've called that classification male or female. And that's like, every cell in your body has this property associated with it. And that's what we've used as a basis for calling someone a man or a woman. And then all of a sudden, we take this other word, gender, and we say that this is also, it started out, this is also male or female, but it's not based on a biological property. It's based on a feeling. And
feeling.
Yeah, and so
Chris, a feeling.
then it's not what it's not the genetic information that's in every single cell in your body. It's how does a very small part of your brain make you feel? And
I feel good.
right. But then the irony started to come in is like, well, how come you can only feel the options that biology creates? And so, well, maybe we can just add more. Maybe I don't feel like either of them.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel.
Maybe I'm binary.
Yeah, I'm neither. I'm non-binary.
Non-binary.
But then that creates a classification too. Like, okay, well, what all exists within this spectrum? So it really just opens up. Like, we no longer have personalities. Like, little Jane's not a tomboy anymore. It's she was born in the wrong body, and she is, her gender is not the same as her biological sex. In other words, you can't have a personality. You can only have a gender, and that gender can now be one of really an infinite number of things. And now we're going to leave the rules of grammar, and we're going to assign pronouns to everybody, and even that's ironic because gender is sold to us as an idea that's fluid, but everyone wants us to declare our pronouns. Well, how can I declare something that's inherently fluid? Why are you forcing me to decide this right now and put it on my email signature or my resume or whatever? Why are you forcing me to put this in a document if it can be different tomorrow? But to add irony to more irony, all of this is defined with respect to the original standard of male and female. And I just find that to be, like, just from a rational perspective, to be kind of ludicrous. And this is where the whole controversy is it's pinned on the assertion that gender and sex are two different things, and that gender and personality are kind of synonymous. And so if everything is going to be fluid and everything has to be accepted, why is it that someone like Sophie Cunningham, who has a particular view, why isn't that view accepted when that view exists in the spectrum that anything is permissible?
Boy, that's a great question.
It's like anything is permissible except this very narrow swath that we have arbitrarily chosen to be the unacceptable swath of the spectrum.
Well, it comes down to everything is acceptable unless it comes down to a straight white Christian perspective. That's exactly what it is.
It sure seems that way.
I even hate that categorization because Christian perspective isn't
narrow, that narrow.
It's not like there's nothing in the Bible that says that God is a straight white. This is that perspective. There is a creator who created everybody, who has established certain concepts and ideas as sacred.
Yeah.
And they're designated as sacred because they point back to the creator in a certain way. Like the idea of maleness and femaleness is used in we've talked about this a lot. It was used in the Old Testament, like marriage between one man and one woman is used as a sacred concept, a picture of God's relationship with Israel. In the New Testament, it's used as Christ's relationship with the church. And we can go through the entire Old Testament and find over and over again where one man had several wives, or any number of moral deviations from that standard of one man and one woman. And that doesn't mean that this was something that was condoned. It means that this was something that existed in the culture of the ancient world that had to be dealt with over the course of generations. I find it to be a similar thing today. It's like there's no way that, if I became emperor of the world, that I could solve all moral problems in an instant. Some moral problems develop over the course of several generations, and their solution happens over the course of several generations, and because they become so ingrained in a culture that it takes a while to work them out. Mm-hmm. And that's what we see in Scripture. Yes, there are a lot of people who deviated from that standard that God set up, but that doesn't mean it was something that God condoned. He allowed for it because the ultimate goal was, X, Y, and Z. And Jesus even alludes to that. He said, from the beginning, there was a standard that was set up. That standard had been deviated from in several ways because of, any number of inconsistencies or flaws that we have as human beings. For instance, divorce. He's like, divorce was never intended originally. It was allowed because you guys don't have the ability to forgive each other for some reason. But from the beginning, it wasn't so. And he also talks about the concept of male and female and all this stuff. And so it's almost like there's two standards that are at odds with each other. And, we get criticized by people who don't take seriously the standard or the recommendations that were given in Scripture, and usually the argument is it's restrictive. Why does your God have the right to dictate what morality is? Your sacred book is just a book full of laws and rules that people have to follow, and the solution is come over to our side, and you can think freely. But that's not really the case. It's this really grand illusion of freedom that's so restricted that you are not allowed to have an opinion other than what the majority feels is right at any given day. Mm-hmm. There's a sacredness to their beliefs as well. There's a sacredness in gender is fluid, morality is relative, all this stuff. And if you disagree with that, you've committed the unpardonable sin. Mm-hmm. And it's no longer like you've been excommunicated from a religious community or something like that. It's you've been kicked out of this other religious community. You've been canceled. Mm-hmm. And canceled is the new excommunication, I think.
Is it canceled?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have the same opinion that we want you to have at any given day, and that opinion will change from time to time based on what is politically expedient for the people involved, then you're going to be canceled, and you're no longer your view is no longer accepted, and we are going to recommend everybody depart from fellowship with you because you don't believe the way we do.
Chris, could you look up what Sophie's quote was? About 4 days ago, I guess, something like Sophie's quote that got her in trouble, something like that.
Actually, going back to the viewership, Caitlin Clark's presence drives 105% higher attendance at a game.
Attendance plus the tickets price is gone up.
When she's not there, it's a 53 to 55% drop in even viewership period of the games. So let me try to look that up.
If somebody came to you and I and told us that those are the numbers that we'd be doing this podcast to, I think we would have said, yeah, let's do it, right?
Right.
But people are still resisting that because if you talk about what you've just talked about, people feel like maybe this is my home, this is my people, this is where I want to keep it that way. So they're resisting, perhaps. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But again, we're 2-3 years down the road now.
Right.
But YouTube algorithm is still having this conversation. Mm-hmm. Again, how AI is affecting our everyday life. This stuff, it can never go away.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's never going to go away. Or it's going to take a while anyway.
The AI component was really interesting too because AI is like the ultimate in confirmation bias. If the majority is saying something, AI is going to pick up on that, not because it has some anthropomorphic qualities to it, but because it's just using statistics to drive, to drive predictions.
Right.
So the more this opinion exists, the more it's going to be marketed to people.
Yeah. Right. Right. Absolutely.
Because it's just search engine optimization.
Yeah. Right. Okay, Chris.
All right. She was not suspended. I think that's maybe still, but it's basically coming over. Her quote was, "I want to protect young girls in the locker room or young girls in sports who should not have to go against biological men." Okay. What I said is what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. That was exactly what she said.
And the next sentence, her one of her last sentences says something like, if you treat people with love and respect, something like that, you can't go wrong. Boy, the other side has said that same thing.
Right.
I say the other side. In this instance, we're talking about the gay and lesbian community, the people that are resisting Caitlin Clark and Sophie coming into the league. They say the same. But if it's said on that side, everybody's thumbs up. But somebody like Sophie says it, and that's hate.
Right.
And it's looked at hate. I don't hate you. I just
Right.
you asked me a question.
When you start to look
you.
at though, you go back historically. I mean, I have a degree in history, and I study medieval history more or less than any of things. When you start to look back at certain things, though, they come down on a lot of things now in our community. How bad white people are. I mean, this is coming. It's just across the board. But I think a lot of it is a lot of the other side understands that if you go back in history and you look at the different races, they all fought each other and didn't give a point.
Right.
But white people have dominated because, in a sense, white people are the gods of war.
Well, look at how the Bible approaches it, because you make an interesting point. We've all fought each other all throughout history, and it's pretty much uniform amongst all the empires of human history is that we all fight each other and we're all subject to the same inherent flaws, and the Bible is very careful to point that out because, like in the Old Testament, you have distinctions between people groups like the Jews and the Canaanites and the Egyptians and the Ethiopians and all these different people groups, and yet the way the distinction is dealt with is this is a nation that serves this God, this is a nation that serves the one true God. That's usually how the distinction between people groups are addressed in the Old Testament. You'll never see in the Old Testament that this person has a different skin color than the other person. It's always what is the God that they worship. And in the New Testament, it continues on that theme because even Paul says like there's no difference between the Jew or the Greek. In other words, Jew and everyone else who's not Jew, because that was the world at the time. There's no difference between Jew or Greek or barbarian or Scythian or bond or free. He's like, there's one thing that matters when it comes to the distinction between people, and that is what you do with respect to your own sin, and
in other words, what have you done with Jesus?
Exactly.
Where's Jesus in your life?
And Jesus died for everybody.
Yeah.
When we read in the Old Testament about like Genesis 10, when all of the nations, that's like the origin of all the different nations of the world, after Babel, where God confounded the languages and the world split into the different nations. Well, that was a direct result of their rebellion against God and their sin. In the New Testament, we see Pentecost, where people from all different people groups are represented there in the book of Acts as well. It's the same people. It's like they took Genesis 10, superimposed it on the New Testament, and you have people groups represented from all those nations in Genesis 10, and they're all sitting there having the gospel preached to them. And what supernatural thing happens? They're hearing it in their own language. This is like the reversal of Babel. Jesus is the reversal of Babel. If we're going to talk about, unifying the different races or the different nations, that only happens through Jesus, because he didn't die for just the Jews. He didn't die for just white people. He died for everybody. That's why, America gets criticized for, the slavery of the 1800s. The reason the slavery of the 1800s was seen as morally wrong was because of Scripture, because of, man was created in the image of God, and that was any man that was created in the image of God. The reason that, we looked back in history and saw the wars of medieval times and wanted to deviate from that historical norm was because we believed that all of mankind has inalienable rights that were given to them by the same Creator. And so we saw that concept in Scripture, that God doesn't see the colors; He sees, what have you done with me? And I think really the only solution to that is to have the same attitude. Sorry, I went on a huge
That's
rant
okay. We're talking about race in the WNBA. I don't know if you call it ironic or not, but one of the biggest controversies a couple years ago was when Caitlin, and this is as a direct result of what I'm about to say, is when Cunningham brought down a player that was doing a layup. Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye by a Sun player. Her name is Shells, I think. Shelby, Shelday, something like that. Another white player. That's really what started a large part of the controversy.
Right.
Two white players. So my point is, we are taking the race. The media, AI, has taken the race and made it a bigger thing. It doesn't matter. If you've been in any sports, Chris, I know you have. Sports, in my opinion, is one of the great equalizers when it comes to race. If you're on a football team, you're on a wrestling team, after a while, it does not matter. You come from Georgia, I come from North Carolina. We had 3 races in North Carolina: Indian, black, and white. And it was 33, 33, 33. Indians and black hated each other. Indians and blacks hated the white people. Hated the white people. But you go into the wrestling locker room, makes no difference. Makes no difference. We were on the same team doing the same thing. I don't remember seeing any race problems at all. I was pretty naive whenever I was a kid, but I didn't see anything. Football team, same thing. Basketball, same thing. The race, sports was a great equalizer, and I believe it's the same with this. As it is now, I think sports is a great equalizer when it comes to a lot of things. So again,
Equalizer or unifier? Or both?
both.
Okay.
I think what everybody goes, and it doesn't matter where you've come from. You're playing ball game. Doesn't matter where you're going after the ball game. You're playing this ball game with the same goal to win this ball
Well, it's
game.
also too, I played sports. If you were on my team, we were a quote, the band of brothers. I mean, I don't care whether you were black, whatever, white, whatever. Somebody messes with my teammate, that's messing with my brother or my family. I will deal with them, on the other team. And that was, I mean, that's the case of when I was playing basketball. I had actually left a school, went to another school. They were mad that I left because they wanted me to play for them. I went to this other school, and they actually took me out. They actually sandwiched my leg, and I dislocated a knee.
Yeah.
Okay? And the rest of my teammates started throwing elbows the rest of the night.
no different than what's happening with the pro level women's league right now. It's really it's pretty simple. The more I looked into it, the more I studied it, the more obsessed I came about it. I just looked at it and went, this is no different than 1978 to 82 whenever I was playing sports.
Right.
It's really not a big difference. Now I grew up and went into cycling. There are not a lot of African Americans, black people, or people of color in cycling. We're starting to see Asians come in and all that, but it would have been the same thing there. If you could hold a wheel and you can sprint and you can climb, I don't care what color you are. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You can help us win.
I think a lot of it nowadays, it's not the things. The field itself hasn't changed. It's the coverage on the field.
Yes.
Now there's, instead of being 1 or 2 cameras, there's 10,000 cell phones.
Yeah, right.
And there's 25 cameras, and there's all these feeds.
Yeah.
So now you have a saturation of coverage that you didn't have 10, 15, 20 years ago.
That's a good point. And knowing the hundreds of videos I've watched and reels that I've watched this last week and week before last, you can take those things and change the narrative. Because I've seen coverage, it's the same clips, and the AI narrative describes it differently, right? It describes it differently. For example, it may say, whenever Cunningham brought down the player from the Sun or whatever, what's her name? Sheldon, brought down number 4 Sheldon, as retaliating for poking Caitlin in the eye. I saw one narrative talk about how they got into a fight, and Caitlin was clapping on the sidelines. Well, Caitlin wasn't on the sidelines. Caitlin was right behind Sophie. Caitlin actually helped the person up that Sophie brought down. And some of the narratives say that, but one of them said no, she was clapping as Caitlin clapped on the sidelines when Sophie brought her opponent down.
It's there to create division and device because right now, if there's not turmoil, there's no news story, and that's just like we said. The guy was in the weather. He was he was crouched on his knees, kind of thing.
Right.
So
we have to keep all that in mind, and. With the things that are happening in the WNBA, I think we need to keep it in mind. In anything that we watch, we need to keep it in mind. Now, I want to talk about the new emblem for the WNBA. Did y'all see that? The pointing.
Yeah. That's what when we were talking about the shoe deal with Nike.
Yeah.
I was thinking of like the Air Jordans. Were those Nike Air Jordans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
With the silhouette.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan.
Right, right.
It'd be cool to have like Air Sophies or something.
Air Sophies.
With that logo.
So I'll talk about this at a couple different angles. To be so popular that there's just a huge amount of push to change this. It's in tongue in cheek to change the logo to Sophie pointing. To somebody who's been, I think Sophie's actually 29 years old, and Caitlin's 22, 23 by now. You can look at that as a person that's been in the league who has done things like this before, and nobody's paid attention. You know what I mean? And I can see how resentment would set in. Like, man, we've been here doing this, and this one girl points at another, and people are talking about changing the logo to WNBA. Partly hilarious. It's just hilarious the way that happened because Sophie's a very smart person. She's a black belt in Taekwondo, so she's not really scared of these other 6'1", 6'3" women that are coming at her, regardless of their color. She just starts standing up for them, and Sophie caught on real quick during that confrontation. She heard the player that she was being confronted with say, "Don't you point at me."
Yep.
And Sophie said, "Ooh, she ought not have said that." She just started pointing like this.
Yep.
They started like feet away from each other, and then everybody came and separated, but Sophie just kept doing like this. She kept pointing at her, staring at her, pointing at her like this, and it just started
It's a
getting under her
provocational
skin.
thing.
Absolutely.
Once you get your dander up,
Man.
you're going to provocate.
She read it so nicely, and if you watch the video of it, the security came out. The one that had their hand on Sophie, he was smiling. He was smiling. He couldn't help but smile. He said, "Come on, Sophie, go here."
I love the other one where a little bit later, as she's walking by, she passes the lady and just points backward.
Yeah, right.
Still gonna do it. You're not gonna intimidate me.
She points back.
I'll point whoever I want to point at.
I do know, and you guys probably know too, in certain cultures, rolling the eyes or pointing at you really is offensive.
Right.
And I think that's what we got going on here. It's really, if somebody points at me, I'm going, whatever. You know what I mean? But
especially in a heated heated environment like that.
Right. That's true. Yep.
Where you're being pointed out for, violating the rules.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
In front of millions of watchers.
She got under that girl's skin, and I don't know if this is just an edit or not, but after they showed her pointing at this girl's really tall too, and she's one of the legends. But anyway, she's pointing at her. After that was done, they showed that girl that she was pointing at on the bench or in the chairs on the side. She had her hands folded. She was like pouting like she was a kid. Yeah. There was just a lot of talk about it. That could have been just an edit. I don't know, but that was funny.
Well, intimidation is part of our natural human thing. You intimidate in a situation where you either have to be aggressive or whatever. I mean, JDL says we go to animal auctions because we're, like I said, we used to go to buy chickens and stuff like that. And I was going to bid on something. Somebody started bidding against me. I just get all of them and I just give them like that. I didn't look at the auctioneer. I just stared at them. I'm sitting there doing my little number like this, and I'm staring at them, and I'm giving them, "I'm going to kill you, look." And they're like, "Crap, I'm not going to mess with him no more." And I win my auctions.
Chris, I love you having a laptop. I think this should be a regular workflow, by the way, because I'm not good at stats and specific things, and I can ask you to look it up. What is Caitlin's average 3-point shot distance? I think it's 30 or 40 feet, and this is longer than any of the men's NBA 3-point shots. Hence from the logo, the FTL. It's past the 3-point line, about 4 feet past the 3-point line. She'll get in that logo. Defenders are not usually on an offender at that point, but you've got to play Caitlin the whole because she's liable to go half court and hit 3 points.
One of those videos you sent yesterday, she had sunk one of those, I guess, and she just yelled to the person guarding her, "You can't guard me."
It's a good point.
Okay, here it is. This is her average right now for 3 years is 33.6%, with the average distance being 27.3 feet. But in 24, she sunk 34.4. 25, she did 27.9, and so far in 26, which isn't over yet, she's at 35.4.
35.4 feet?
No, that's the percentage of
so
hitting.
she's sinking a third of her shots.
Okay, gotcha.
She's sinking 33%, basically over 33% of her shots.
So if you're not a basketball player, you might say, that's really good.
That's actually good. That's very good.
That's really good. And the distance where she shoots the 3-pointers, I think she's 3 foot or 4 foot past Seth Curry, who is known in the NBA as one of the best three-point shooters. So she's more accurate than the best NBA player.
It takes roughly 8.3 attempts per game over her professional career. So she's taking at least 8 3-point shots or more per game.
She can hit them. She can hit them. And so assistance. See what her average is in assisting. She is as good in assisting than she is at shooting. This means she is the quarterback of this team, right? She's the point guard.
What was the distance to her 3-point line?
It's the 27.3. It's the average 27.3 feet.
Okay.
Average, okay.
Because I didn't know this. The WNBA 3-point line is closer than the NBA 3-point line.
Okay.
But she's shooting outside even the NBA.
Even the NBA.
Yeah.
Yep, she is. And it's a lot of times it's from the logo.
Yeah.
So
Okay, her average assist is right now in her 26th career. They're basing it between 44.9 and 45.4 assist percentage of assist to other players.
Okay.
So almost 50%, not quite 50%, but close to 50% of what other people's points are assisted through her.
Which means she has passed the ball to the person under the basket or somewhere else, and that person has made the shot. So if she passes the ball to her teammate shoots and they miss it, that's not an assist. It's got to be a successful assist. And she's rebounding. She's in top 10, and she's at the top on rebounding too, meaning she's in the paint, under the basket, or away from the basket, and she's pulling down rebounds. Somebody or opponent makes a shot, hits the rim, bounces out. She grabs that ball.
She's a total player.
She's a total player.
She's not a
man.
hot dog or like some of these guys that do it. She's a total on the court player. She's everywhere.
What is her free throw percentage? Which means if she's gotten fouled, she goes to the free throw and gets a cup 1, 2, or 3 free throws, free shots to the basket.
Okay.
Let me look that up.
What I've seen of her, she's 80%. That's just what I've seen her in two games. I believe it's somewhere.
Actually, Caitlin's WNBA career free throw percentage is 88.2. We're right now in 24, she did 90.6. 25, she did 82%. And so far, just in 26, she's done 87.3.
That's almost a guaranteed basket. If you don't know anything about basketball, at the end of the game, especially if it's close, that's clutch because you're going to get fouled by. You just have to. The strategy of it is you're going to get fouled at the end of the game. So if you give Caitlin the ball, you're going to get fouled. It's 80% chance she's going to make it.
And
that's
the strategy. I mean, we use that strategy when I played basketball. Make somebody draw the foul on you. You know, you charge them, but you pull back, and they still hit you. So they fouled you.
Right.
You get a free throw shot. So we had guys that were better at free throws. You're the guy that charges. You're the guy that draws the foul because you're going to hit a higher percentage of your basket.
Part of the game. This is part of the strategy. Now she does. She gives a lot of turnovers. The reason she gives a lot of turnovers is because she always has her hand on the ball. She's always the one passing. Which
that makes sense. If you have the ball most of the time, if somebody's going to take it from somebody, well, since you got it most of the time, it's probably more or less going to be taken from you at that point.
Exactly right. It's not as big as most people that handle the ball as much as her. She is a total package player.
Yeah.
You can't look at her. I don't care who you are, analyst, opponent, whatever. And this being, I think, her third or fourth year in the WNBA, third year in the NBA, she is finally getting the respect that she deserves. I want to finish up with this, okay? Let's look at some. She went to Ohio. Let's look at some of her Ohio numbers, okay? See if you can find out some statistics from her college career.
This is ESPN's on her.
I love having a computer, man. This is awesome.
Hey, I was going to take a little nap.
I'm sorry.
ESPN.
I've just been texting my wife and daughter. they're on their way here.
Josh, I'm sorry.
That was great. I like it.
This novelty will wear off.
But it says ESPN. This in her Indiana Fever.
This is pro.
This is still pro.
Okay.
They give her 26 so far. She's got 21.6 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 8 assists, and then STL. I don't know what that is. Steals. 0.9. That's 0.9.
And she plays every game. That's a lot of. That's
what
solid
team did she play on before?
She was with Iowa.
Is that third camera working too?
Huh?
Is that third
camera?
camera working too?
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm
So-
kinda,
Dang, I want to ask him so many questions if I know he's going to be on camera that month.
Well, usually when we just have two cameras, I always have to remember like the camera might still be
Yeah.
on me even though you're talking. So like, don't do anything embarrassing.
It's true.
It's on you right now.
I think it's worth explaining that if there's a time in this podcast that the camera stays on one person, even if the other person is talking, that means Chris has left the room for something.
Right.
He hasn't
It's called
come
old
back
age.
and he hasn't. I've tried to be more aware of that, so I don't itch or pick where I shouldn't be itching or picking. If
Right.
she's gone.
All right. Trying to pull down the.
I believe she is the highest NCAA period, male female. I think she has scored more points in the NCAA than anybody, male or female.
Okay, let's see. This is her college. It's saying 139 games played. She had 3,951 points while in Division One. Points per game was 28.4, assists 8.2, rebounds 7.1. Field goal percentage, which is just
Free
40.
throws.
Field goal percentage.
Oh, no,
was
that's to any
40,
shot.
Was
Okay.
46.2. 3-point was 37.7. Free throw, even in college, her free throw percentage was 85.8.
It's crazy.
So you use her to draw fouls.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. Now, those might not mean anything to without knowing second place. I'll just tell you this: second place is
I've
way
personally been drowned in numbers, so I have no idea what's going on right now.
second place to all those stats is way down as far as anything else. She dominated in most of those stats. This is an indication of how she's going to do in the future in the pros.
So
It really is.
So if we're landing this plane,
And just land it.
I guess that the two summarizing questions. Why is your interest in her continuing?
I love seeing somebody who is the expert in their field. I loved Lance Armstrong whenever he was, because he was a dominator. Regardless of his the tools that he used, you got in line with him or you got off the team. Doesn't matter who it is. And he was confident. He worked for everything that he had. He also did some things that many other people were doing in order for him to stay competitive. But I loved watching him ride. I love
Cycling's no joke.
cycling is no joke, that's for sure.
As captain of my high school cycling team,
Yeah, that's right.
I know.
How many telephone poles did you kiss?
He lettered and everything. I like watching somebody who plays the guitar like nobody else, you know. And I see Caitlin coming in and a wave of people, not just Caitlin, but to me, she is a trendsetter. She doesn't. I think this is why
She's like the tip of the spear.
she's the tip of the spear, but she doesn't look like your typical WNBA player. Neither does Sophie. And I think that might have something to do with the envy or the hatred that some people have for them. They don't fit the mold. Awesome. I love people who don't fit. I love anything that doesn't fit the mold. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons I like it. And I like that
You tend to get offended by the mold.
I don't care for the mold.
Right.
I also like the way they carry themselves. I like having a person answer a question in a way that you have to look in order to be. You got to take it apart. You know what I mean? You ask me a question, I'm answering it, and I with both of them, I say, man, that is such a high road. Both of them take the high road. Cunningham and Clark. And it's young in their career. I said last week, most of the things that I follow except for mountain biking and now in WNBA. I watch new episodes of Bob Newhart. Hey, I haven't seen that Mary Tyler Moore show. This was 74. Those are the things that I'm watching. I like being on the cutting edge of what's happening now. To me, that's novel to me right now. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
That's my only drawback right now. My wife and I, we moved all the remodeling, which is still going on.
Did you just have a little seizure? You looked like you had a little seizure there.
But unfortunately, we moved our offices together. So she came out of one of the rooms. So now we're both in the same room. So the 85-inch TV.
What could go wrong with that?
Yeah, what could go wrong with that? The 85-inch TV. So she's sitting there at work, and I'm trying to do something, and she's got Andy Griffin on there.
Right on, man.
She's got I Love Lucy, and I'm sitting there going, do you realize I'm trying to do something? I'm snapping the headphones on, going, or I got earbuds in or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's talking to me like, I got the headphones, so I can't hear what's going on. And, are you ignoring me? No.
Some people like to have it in the background. You know
She
what
does.
I mean?
She's a background music
Yep.
person.
Yep.
And I don't listen to music that much. I mean, and if I'm watching YouTube for
a purpose. There's a
a
purpose.
purpose.
Yeah.
How to build something.
Right.
What's the review on this? What's that?
Yeah.
And I do listen to music, but my music taste would probably terrify most people. So I mean,
Right. Sure.
I've been last couple of weeks while I'm working. I've been streaming in the background all of the episodes of the Muppet Show from the 70s.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Is that right?
See, now J-Dell's doing one thing she's doing one thing worse. She's playing Andy Griffin or I Love Lucy or whatever, and she's got her tablet playing one of the radio stations with Christian music.
That drives me crazy.
And then she's also trying to do something on the computer, and I'm sitting there going,
Too much chaos.
too much chaos for me. And I say, that was I thought moving our offices together will be a wonderful thing.
Maybe need to put up one of those divides.
It's like in
I
Star
actually
Trek.
bought one for the other room. I bought one for the other room. I may wind up putting it in the new office.
It's like in Star Trek when they would walk into Data's quarters and he's listening to multiple classical pieces at once
gosh.
and analyzing them separately in his Android.
Oh yeah, but
neural
then I've got Lou going in the background. I have to go outside sometimes.
Right.
Just like
That's
gotcha.
that's why you get here like an hour and a half early. You just want
quiet.
some quiet.
You think I'm here an hour and a half early? I got here about midnight
And sat.
and sat
In
I'm sleeping
silence.
in the chair back here.
You had two questions that you asked one of them. The one was why do I continue to be interested?
I forgot what the second one was.
I'm sure it was the best question you're ever going to ask me.
Probably, yeah.
Well, I'll land it totally with this.
Landing it again.
It seems I'm doing some touch and goes. It seems to me, maybe this is another reason. I know it is that I want to farm. It seems to me like this is a team. That these are people that I would sit down with my daughter and watch and want them to watch them as an example, not to worship, not to be crazy over, but to see how you can fit into something that exists whenever you may not act, look, or even have much in common with where you're going. You can be a professional basketball player if you want to. You don't have to be. You can be a coach if you want to. It's happening. It's been there, but it hasn't been in front of the populace like it is now. So plus they're both sold out Christians. Now I'll tell you, you watch some of Sophie Cunningham's videos and you'll think, is she really? Is she really a Christian?
Well, both of them, man. It's intense on the basketball court from what I'm gathering from these videos.
That's another reason I like both of them. They're intense. They're not just walking around
There's
going.
some F-bombs flying and all kinds
There
of stuff.
there is, but they're competitors, and I love that about. There's people that I've competed with in cycling that whenever we went head to head at a state level or even a national level, I talked myself into not liking them. Man, you got some nerve showing up on the start line. I don't know why you're even here. You wasted all that money. This is all the stuff going on in my head, right? Never said it out loud. Look down the line, going, man, I can't believe you. You know. But whenever I moved up, whenever we were in different categories, I would bring them water. You know what I mean? I'd pour water. I remember one guy coming by. I was still warming up for my race. He was on his last lap. I got off my bike when I was warming up and poured water over him because it was in Tallahassee. It was 100-something degrees. You know, so I get that. I get being competitive, but it's just an act. You know what I mean? To make. So anyway,
I guess it goes back to the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. It depends on the day of the week, you know.
Some of the girls that are in conflict were Caitlin's idols. You know, whenever she's grown up, and she still gives them props. Yeah. You know, Caitlin always says, if it wasn't for these 4 women, I wouldn't be here right now doing what I'm doing. And some of those 4 women are still playing, and they've had conflict on the floor. There you go. That's landing. I'm landing.
I think having areas where or environments where conflict is acceptable is healthy. Yeah. Especially when it comes to discussing things where people disagree. Yeah. You know, I
discussing,
think
interesting word.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. Like, you know, we've been talking a lot about this today. Difficult issues like gender as it relates to sex or personality or whatever. There is disagreement across the board. But everybody is so afraid to actually have a discussion where they're honest about their opinions in an environment where no one's going to get offended. Just to hash out the rationality of the issue that's important. And it's not just with that, but I mean, every major conflict in human history has been a breakdown of people's ability to just rationally discuss things. And I think we need to get back to that.
So I went to church on Wednesday. You weren't able to make it because of the family situation that you're having.
Having issues with a pet. Yeah. That ended up having to be put down.
Sorry
that's why we're recording on a Saturday because Thursday morning we were dealing with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry y'all are dealing with that too. That's tough. But I think I sent both of y'all the text. We need to look at these things, look at people, look at situations as opportunities and not barriers. And if we could do that, I think it'd change everything, Chris. Yeah. Don't you think so? The problem is we're not all good at that. I'm not good at that. But man, if you just think about it as talking about it, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel? But what has happened to where if you don't agree, you hate? Where does that doesn't? Right. When did that become equal?
It used to be like, you know, you would at least go through something in your youth in your school where you were given a position to support, whether you agreed with it or not, just to learn the basics of how to have a debate or a discussion.
Well, I'll tell you what,
here's an issue. Skill. Team A, you've been assigned this viewpoint. Team B, you've been assigned this viewpoint. Debate. Yeah. And it's, you know, because that can happen even on things that are like very sensitive things. You can discuss them without getting offended. Yeah. But yeah, it's a skill that's been lost, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, how long have we gone on this episode?
Dude, an hour 13 right now.
Man, y'all have been running on and on. I can't believe you two. Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fun.
Do you want to talk anything about faith?
No, I think we covered it. Okay. I mean, we got a lot of that stuff in too.
I love the way that you were able to take my gibberish and make it so people understand it. I really do. I like that, and from the biblical perspective, it's fantastic. So
I'll put the address in again for send money for the mental health care for the editing team.
I think you need that. If you see us on that 89-inch screen, you see our faces on that. I don't want to see that. Do you?
Right. No.
I don't care.
Every now and then a video will post with a thumbnail of me And that's usually when I log into the account and put a
You
YouTube.
change.
I've gone back and
YouTube
started changing
thumbnail.
a lot of them. But you have to remember, guys, y'all actually didn't really start videoing even on this iteration until the 40s.
Yeah.
Like
Is that right?
Mid 30s, 40s, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
a
I
lot
forget
of
about
your
that.
first probably 15, 20 episodes were
Sure.
audio only.
Right.
Yep.
And then so we then started doing video.
Yeah. Donna still treats it as audio only. I think last episode, for some reason, I had a little thing at the beginning. I did my horse face or whatever. I don't think she's even seen that because she puts it on, and then she does work in the kitchen getting her mom's
Right.
food ready and everything. So,
Well, I mean, I say
My
guys,
wife
remember,
does not want
I
to
have
hear
to
me.
cut all of these really
While she's
goofy
working.
segments out. It's like when he does this stuff.
that's part of what we do.
My wife's idea of a restful work session in the kitchen is not having me streaming.
She needs a break, huh? Well, it's fun for us, and
Yeah, I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun.
I missed it Thursday, and I was looking forward to getting in here this morning. But right now, we're going to head out because Donna had to bring her mom to the emergency room. So I'm going to go over there and see if everything is okay. Donna, I love you, and I hope everything's all right at home. And we'll see everybody next week we're recording Thursday, right?
I think so, yeah.
Thursday? Okay, for 129. Woohoo, close.
Sounds
All right.
good.
See y'all later.